and accordingly discuss in the next session.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Good evening, Sania and Aman.
Good evening, sir.
How are you doing, both of you?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I'm also. Okay, so Sania and Aman, we were talking about the investment fluctuation reserve in the last session, and in this topic we have understood the meaning of the investment fluctuation reserve, the purpose for which investment fluctuation reserve is made by the partnership firm. Then we have covered various the different cases that may arise while treating the investment fluctuation reserve, right? So other than discussing different cases, I guess at the end of the session I have given you one question for your homework as well. I think question number 80 I gave you for your homework. So have you, both of you have done this question or not? Or if anyone is having any problem solving this, please let me know so that I can help you. Otherwise, we will move to the next topic. Please confirm whether you guys have done this or not.
Yes, sir.
Done. Okay, Aman, what about you? You tried this question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so no one, none of you have any doubt regarding this topic, regarding all these different cases, now?
No, sir.
Okay, so that means we can move to the next topic. All right, so one more thing that we need to discuss regarding the reserve. See, we have covered how many types of reserve we have covered. We covered the treatment of the workman compensation reserve. Then we also covered the treatment of the investment fluctuation reserve. And then other than the investment fluctuation reserve, we have one more type of reserve, which is called the general reserve. So let's do a question based on the general reserve. I don't think I'll have to explain it about the general reserve. See, let's just directly start question number 81. And if it requires any explanation, I'll be resolving your doubt while discussing the question 81. So question 81 is saying that Amar and Akhar are partners, and partners sharing profit in the ratio of 2:1, and on 31st of March 2019 their balance sheet showed a general reserve of 60,000, and it was decided that in the future they will be sharing the profits and losses in the ratio of 3:2 and pass the necessary general entry in each of the following alternative cases. So two cases are given in the question: when general reserve is not to be shown in the balance sheet, and when general reserve is to be shown in the new balance sheet. So let me just explain a little about the different scenario of the general reserve. See, whenever general reserve is given in the question, general reserve, how we will be treating the general reserve, treatment of general reserve depends upon two things. Treatment depends upon how are we going to treat general reserve? It depends upon whether partners want to show to be shown in the, whether it is to be shown in the books of account, to be shown in books of account in future as well, whether partners have agreed to show the general reserve in the future books of account as well. Number one. The second situation could be where partners have decided not to show the general reserve in the future books of account, not to be shown, not to be shown in future books of account. So there are two possible situations of treatment. First could be that partners have decided to show the books of, show the value of the general reserve in the future books of account as well. And the second situation could be they have decided not to show it in the future books of account. Now let me discuss the second point first, second scenario first, point the scenario B. So if partners have decided not to show the general reserve in the future books of account, that means in such a situation, such general reserve shall be distributed among the partners. The value of general reserve that is currently indicated in the books of account will be distributed among the partner. Distribute general reserve among partner. If partner have decided not to show it in the future books of account. So why should we distribute it among the partner? Because general reserve is a part of profit which is kept as a reserve. General reserve is what? General reserve is a part of profit which is kept in the business as a as reserve. Partners have in the previous years they agreed not to distribute it among themselves. Rather they wanted to keep this much of amount in the books of account so as to meet out any kind of contingency, right? So let's suppose they have made a reserve of 50,000. Now they realize that they do not want this reserve in future, and therefore they do not want to show this reserve in the books of account in future. So if they have decided not to show the value of the general reserve in the future books of account, that simply means that since this is a part of profit that is kept as a reserve, now since this reserve is not required anymore, then partners are free to distribute this reserve among themselves. Now the question arises, if they have decided to distribute it, then in what ratio, in what way, how are we going to distribute it among the partners? So answer is very simple. Just distribute it among the partner in the old profit sharing ratio. In the old PSR, old profit sharing ratio. This is it, profit sharing ratio. I hope this is clear to you. Now, the second situation could be that there is a general reserve in the books of account. Partners also wanted to show the this reserve in the future books of account as well. Now, this simply means that partners anticipate that this reserve could be used in future as well, and therefore they wanted to keep this reserve in the business. But the thing is that reconstitution is taking place in the business. Reconstitution is taking place. So whenever reconstitution is taking place and partners have decided to keep the amount of reserve in the business, they wanted to show it in the future books of account also, then in such a situation, it is required to be adjusted. It should be adjusted among the partner. It should be adjusted among the partner. Adjusted among the partner. So what do you mean by adjusted among the partner? That means we need to adjust it among the partner in their gaining and sacrificing share. In the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. Gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. Gaining and sacrificing share of the, depending upon their gaining and sacrificing shares, we will be adjusting it among the partners. All right, everyone. I hope this is clear. currently I'm discussing about the treatment of general reserve. So I've told you that treatment of the general reserve depends upon the situation, whether partners have decided to show it in the future books of account as well, and or whether they have decided not to show the general reserve in the future books of account. If they have decided to show it in the future books of account as well, then in such a situation we need to pass the adjustment entry. We need to adjust this reserve among the partners, their gaining and sacrificing shares. And if the partners have decided not to show it among in the future books of account, then they are free to distribute it among themselves in the old profit sharing ratio. Tell me if it is clear, yes or no.
Yes,
And
sir.
quickly note this down, please. Please note it down. Uh, Let me know whenever you want me to scroll down.
So can you scroll?
And one information I need to give to all of you. On Wednesday, we will be conducting a Viva. I've been told to take a Viva of all of you. So make sure that you revise everything that we have completed. The topic for the Viva will be valuation of the goodwill, all the methods, and reconstitution, that the current topic. So two topics will be for your Viva. You need to prepare both these topics. Valuation of goodwill. By valuation of goodwill, I mean all the method, the average profit method, and we have covered super profit, weighted average profit method, and the capitalization method. It will be a Viva. That means I'll be asking you question. It could be general entry or it could be any other thing. It could be the definition as well. So make sure you revise everything that we have covered until now. And I have also shared the PowerPoint of this chapter. All the notes, everything you will be able to find in the PowerPoint. I have shared it with your counselor. You can, if you haven't received it yet, you can directly ask them. Please confirm if you are done. Halima, Aman.
Done, sir.
Mariam, is this your first class? Or how long you have not been attending my classes? Mariam, are you there? Okay. Okay, no problem, Mariam. Done, everyone. Shall we move to the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me tell you again. General reserve, the treatment of general reserve depends upon whether partners have decided to show it in the books of account or not. If they have decided to show, then in such a situation we need to We need to adjust it among the partner depending upon their gaining and sacrificing share. If they have decided not to show it in the books of account, then in such a case, we are free to distribute it among them, among the partners in the old profit sharing ratio. Now let's do a question based on this concept. Question number 81 is based on the concept of general reserve. Question 81 is stating that Amar and Akhar are partners. Their general reserve is given as 60,000. All right. The general reserve is 60,000. Their old profit sharing ratio was 2:1. New profit sharing ratio is 3:2. Now question is telling us that we need to pass the general entry. Question is saying us to pass the general entry, considering the two different cases. Number one, when general reserve is not to be shown in the new balance sheet, that simply means we are free to distribute it among the partner in the old profit sharing ratio, which is 2:1. And the second case requires us to show it in the new balance sheet. That means partners wanted to keep the reserve in the future as well. Okay, so I hope the question is clear to all of you now. Guys, is it clear? Anybody
Yes, sir.
needs any explanation? Okay. Okay, so let me show you how this will be done. Question number 81. Question 81. So in question 81, we will be discussing case first of all, case 1. Case 1. Okay. Case 1 is where partners have decided not to show general reserve, not to be shown in books of account. Okay. So in this situation, entire general reserve needed to be distributed among the partners in the old PSR. So this simply means, since general reserve needed to be distributed among the partners, so what I'll be doing, I'll be debiting the general reserve account. I'll be writing general reserve account debit, right, to partners capital account. Who are the partners? Partners are Amar and Akhar. Two partners are there. To Amar's account, Amar's capital account, to Akhar's capital. Got it, everyone? Is this clear? The general
Yes.
entry is clear to all of you. General reserve account will be debited, and since it is to be distributed among the partners, so partners capital account will be credited. Okay, and the amount of reserve is how much? It is 60,000. So 60,000 will be distributed. 60,000 will be distributed to Amar and Akhar, and the ratio of Amar, the old profit sharing ratio of the partners were 2:1, right? So when you will divide 60,000 in the ratio of 2:1, 60 into 2:1 means that Amar's share is 2/3, and Akhar's share is also 1/3. So that means Akhar will be getting 20,000, and Amar's capital account will be credited by 40,000. And we can also write down the narration. Narration will be being general reserve distributed among partners in old profit sharing ratio. Tell me, everyone, if it is clear or not. Case 1 is clear, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Please note this down. Then we will discuss the situation 2, wherein general reserve to be shown in the books of account. Done with the case 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for case 2nd, the general entry in case 2 is, since I've told you that whenever partner have decided to show it in the future books of account as well. So in such a situation, partner's capital, the gaining partner share will be debited and the sacrificing partner shares will be sacrificing partner's capital account will be credited. So don't write this down right now. Gaining partner's account will be debited. So gaining partner's capital account debit to sacrificing partner's capital account. This will be the general entry. Okay. This will be the general entry in this question. Now the problem is that we are not sure who is gaining and who is sacrificing on account of reconstitution. We only knew that the profit sharing ratio of the partners were 2:1 and the new PSR is 3:2. New profit sharing ratio is 3:2. Old profit sharing ratio is 2:1. So through this information, we will have to first of all find out their gaining and sacrificing share. Only then we will be able to pass the general entry, adjustment general entry. So for that purpose, for finding out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, we will be preparing a working note, and working note will be prepared for showing calculation of gaining and sacrificing share. Calculation of gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. Right. So I'm sure that all of you remember this, that to find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, we apply this formula: new share of the partner minus the old share of the partners. Right, everyone is able to recall this formula? Yes or no? Aman, Halima, please confirm.
Yes,
You are
sir.
okay. So for finding out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner, first of all, we will be finding out the gaining and sacrificing share for Amar, and then we will be calculating it for the Akhars as well. So our Amar and Akhars share were earlier, they were sharing the profit and ratio in the profit and losses in the ratio of 2:1. That means 2/3 and 1/3. So this was the old profit sharing ratio. So that means 2/3 and 1/3. This was the old profit sharing ratio of the partner. Now they have decided to share the profit and losses in the ratio of, say, 3:2. So that means new profit sharing ratio is 3/5, and for Akhar it is 2/5. Right. So now we will apply the formula: 3/5 minus 2/3. 3/5 minus 2/3. So it will be 15 in the denominator. Then 9 minus 10, it will be minus 1/15. Is it correct, everyone? Please confirm. Is this calculation is correct and clear to all of you?
Yes, sir.
And similarly for the Akhar as well, we will be doing the same thing. First of all, we'll take the LCM of the denominator. It will be 15. Dividing 15 by 5, we will get 3. 3 into 2, it will be 6 minus 5. So it will be 1/15 positive balance. And I guess all of you also remember that whenever you get the share in the positive, in the negative figure, that indicates that such partner is sacrificing. So this means Amar is sacrificing because he is getting the negative value of share, sacrificing. And since Akhar is having a positive value, so that means Akhar is gaining. Right? Is the calculation clear to all of you? Gaining and sacrificing share.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now, since we know the sacrificing share is minus 1 by 5 and Amar's share is 1 by 5 gaining, so now we can pass the general entry. Now, because we are now sure that who is gaining and sacrificing, so I'm going to write down, since Akhar is gaining and Amar is sacrificing, so partner who sacrifice his share, his capital account need to be credited. So that means Amar's capital account will be credited. Amar's capital account will be credited. And Akhar is gaining, that means his capital account will be debited. All right, everyone. Now the question arises, by what amount their account will be debited or credited. So the value of the general reserve was 60,000, right? Value of the general reserve that is given in the question is 60,000. So 60,000 will be adjusted among Akhar and Amar based on their gaining and sacrificing share. So gaining and sacrificing share for both the partners is 1 by 15. So dividing 60,000 by 15, we will get 4,000. So 4,000 will be debited to Akhar's account and 4,000 will be credited to Amar's account. This is called the adjustment of the reserve. And we will have to pass the narration as well. We will have to write down the narration. So I'll write down being general reserve adjusted among partners in their gaining and sacrificing ratio or share. Tell me, everyone, is this clear? Both the cases are clear to all of you. Any doubts, any problem,
Yes, no doubt.
understanding anything? No doubts. Okay. So that means we can move to the next question, and in fact, the next topic. Aman, Halima, noted this down, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we need to discuss one more topic other than the general reserve. I needed to discuss the treatment of the goodwill as well. Treatment of the goodwill. The next heading, all of you put this heading on your notebook. Treatment of goodwill. How we will be treating the value of the goodwill in a situation of reconstitution. But before starting this topic, just wanted to give you a recall that all of you must remember this, that currently we are discussing the reconstitution of the partnership. Reconstitution of the partnership. I hope all of you remember this, that the current topic, the ongoing topic is reconstitution. I've told you that reconstitution, there are various factors by which reconstitution of a firm may take place. First of which will be change in the PSR. Change in profit sharing ratio indicate the reconstitution of the partnership. There are various other methods of reconstitution as well. There are other modes of reconstitution as well, which could be retirement of the partner. This may also lead to the reconstitution. Death of the partner may also lead to reconstitution, and the admission of the partner could also be the possible reason for the reconstitution. But currently we are just discussing the reconstitution on account of change in PSR. And at the very beginning of this topic, I've told you that whenever reconstitution is taking place on account of change in PSR, we need to make the following adjustments. We need to make the following adjustment. We need to make the adjustment regarding the we need to do the adjustment regarding the calculation of the sacrificing and the gaining share. Calculation of gaining and sacrificing shares. Remember, I've told you na, whenever PSR is changing, we need to make the following adjustment. First adjustment is regarding the calculation of the gaining and sacrificing share. Then the second thing is the treatment of the reserves and the profit. So treatment of different types of reserve and profit. Change in PSR requires us to treat the reserve and goodwill. Sorry, the reserves and the profit of the accumulated profits. Accumulated profits. Accumulated profits. Remember, everyone? As far as the reserve are concerned, we have understood the treatment of various type of reserve. Reserve could be the workman compensation reserve. We have discussed workman compensation reserve, treatment of workman compensation reserve. Then other than workman compensation reserve, after completing this topic, we understood, we learned about how to treat the investment fluctuation reserve. Investment fluctuation reserve. Right. And then in today's class, we have covered the treatment of the general reserve. Right, everyone? Please tell me, all the things that we have covered till this point is clear to all of you? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Everyone is able to connect and relate, na? Whatever the topic that we are covering, it is important that you relate to the topics that we are covering in our classes. So make sure you keep on revising all these things on a regular basis. Otherwise, you will forget all these things, and it will completely, it goes in vain. So make sure you revise all these things. So we have covered two adjustment till now: calculation of the gaining and sacrificing, and the treatment of the reserve and the accumulated profit. Then in today's session, I'm going to start one more adjustment, which is the treatment of the goodwill. Treatment of goodwill. This is what we will be covering in today's class as well. Treatment of goodwill. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you? Please confirm if it is clear or not. Treatment of goodwill, I'll be discussing with all of you now. Okay, so I hope all these things are clear to you. So now put the heading on your notebook: treatment of goodwill. Treatment of goodwill. So see, treatment of goodwill, how are we going to treat the value of the goodwill? See, treatment of goodwill also depends upon two different situations. How we will be dealing with the value of the goodwill depends upon whether the goodwill is the purchased goodwill. See, there are two types of goodwill. One is called the purchased goodwill, and then there could be self-valued goodwill. Self-valued goodwill. Self-valued. Sometimes we call it self-valued goodwill, and sometimes it is also called self-generated. Self-generated goodwill. Both are same thing. Self-generated and self-valued goodwill, both are the similar thing. So how are we going to deal with the goodwill? It depends upon the type of the goodwill. If it is the purchase goodwill, listen to me very carefully. If it is the purchase goodwill, then the rule of reconstitution simply says that if it is the purchase goodwill and reconstitution is taking place in the partnership, then purchase goodwill should be written off from the books of the account. It should be written off. That means it should not be shown in the books of account in future. It must be written off from the books of account. Got it, everyone? Purchase goodwill, if reconstitution is taking place, how are we going to deal with it? We have to write it off from the books of account. So what do you mean by writing it off from the books of account? Writing off from the books of account simply means that we won't be showing the value of the goodwill in the future books of account. We do not want to show it in the future books of account. That is what the written off basically means. But this is not by choice. There is no choice whether we want to show it in the books of account or not. It is compulsion. It is mandatory. If it is purchased goodwill, it needed to be written off from the books of account. That is it. If it is purchased goodwill, it need to be written off. There is no other choice. Got it, everyone? If it is purchased goodwill, we need to write it off. So what do you mean by writing it off? Writing it off basically means we won't be showing it in the future books of account. Now see, because it is goodwill, I'm sure that all of you know this, that goodwill is the asset of the business, right? Goodwill is the asset. In fact, it is the intangible asset, or sometimes it is also called the fixed asset of the business. So goodwill, if we are considering it as the asset of the business, and now onwards in future we do not want to show the goodwill in the books of account, that means since goodwill is an asset and we do not want to show it in the future books of account, that means there is a reduction in the value of the asset. There is going to be reduction in the value of the asset, right? If we do not wanted to show the value of the goodwill in the future books of account, that means there is going to be reduction in the value of the asset in the future. Answer is yes, it is going to be, there is going to be reduction in the value of the asset. So now when the assets are declining, value of the assets are declining because we are writing it off, in such a situation goodwill account will be credited. Since goodwill is declining, it is written off. So just whenever we want to write it off from the books of account, we have to pass the journal entry. What general entry will be passing? General entry will be partners capital account will be debited. Partners capital account will be debited to goodwill account. See, what I was telling you, that goodwill is what? Goodwill is an asset, right? Goodwill is an asset. When you have decided to write it off, in fact, not you haven't decided it, but reconstitution is taking place, and on account of such reconstitution, we need to write it off from the books of account. Then when it is going to be written off from the books of account, that means value of the assets are declining, and goodwill is that asset. So we have debited the value of the goodwill. Let's suppose the value of the goodwill is 5 lakh or 50,000. Let's suppose, for the time being, just keep it simple. The value of the goodwill is 50,000. So if we are writing it off from the books of account, we need to credit the value of the goodwill because assets are reducing. So therefore we need to credit the asset account. But now the question arises, if the value of the asset is being written off from the books of account, who is going to bear such loss? Reduction in the value of the asset is a loss, na? Question arises, who will be bearing this loss? Who is going to bear the loss of writing it off from the books of account? Obviously, the old partners. Old partners will be bearing the loss in the old profit sharing ratio. They will be bearing the loss. Old partners will be bearing the loss in the old profit sharing ratio. 50,000 will be allocated or distributed among the partner in the old profit sharing ratio. Tell me, everyone, is this point clear to all of you? Please confirm if it is clear or not. Do I need to explain it again? Please confirm, na, everyone. Aman and got it? Is this clear?
Yes.
Halima,
Yes,
Aman?
clear.
Okay. Let me tell you one more time. See, what I'm telling you is that goodwill are of two types. It could be a purchase goodwill. It could be self-value goodwill. Let's first of all talk about the treatment of the purchase goodwill. If it is the purchase goodwill being shown in the books of account and reconstitution is taking place, then the rule of reconstitution says that whenever reconstitution is taking place, and if you have a purchase goodwill in the books of account, you need to distribute it among the partners, right? On the other hand, if the if it is the self-valued goodwill, if it is the self-valued goodwill, then in such a situation, it needed to be adjusted among the partner. Adjust among partners. It needed to be adjusted among the partners. In case of it is the self-generated goodwill. Now the question arises, sir, how do we adjust the self-generated goodwill? By passing the simple journal entry. So general entry for adjusting the goodwill, self-generated goodwill, general entry will be, this is the general entry. Gaining partners, again, adjustment entry, every time whenever we want to pass the adjustment entry is going to be remain same. Every time whenever or wherever you need to pass the adjustment entry remains same, that is gaining partners capital account will be debited to sacrificing partners capital account credited. This is it. Sacrificing partners capital account credit. This is the adjustment entry in if it is the self-generated or self-valued goodwill. Please confirm everyone if it is clear or not.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So let me show you the PowerPoint and I want all of you to write it down. Please note this down. Let me know when you are done. Done everyone. Please confirm once you are done. Done. Aman, Halima, Mariam, Sania.
Done, sir.
Halima, please confirm if you're done or not.
Done.
Done. Okay. Okay. So I hope all of you have completed this. Now let's move to the question. Question number 82. See, question is saying that X, Y, and Z are partners sharing profit and losses in the ratio of 5:3:2. They have decided to share the profit and losses equally now with effect from 1st of April 2020. So till this point, question is only saying that reconstitution is being taken place. Reconstitution have taken place. That is because the profit sharing ratio is changing now. Profit sharing ratio changed from 5:3:2 to now they have decided to share the profit and losses equally. So that means there is a change in the PSR. Okay. Other than this, question is telling us that on that date, on the date of reconstitution, on that date, goodwill appears in the books at rupees 12,000, but it was revalued at 30,000. Now listen to me carefully. There is an accounting standard 26, which says that anything which is actually purchased and anything that for which firm have paid consideration for, anything that firm have purchased or paid the consideration for can only be shown in the books of account. Things that for which firm haven't paid anything could not be shown on in the books of account. That means here it is written that the value of the goodwill appears in the book at rupees 12,000. That means the value of the goodwill which is appearing in the books of account, it must be appearing in the books of account because we must have purchased it, right? If because I have told you that as per the accounting standard 26, it says that anything for which firm have paid amount, paid money, or made any consideration, only those things can be reflected, can be recorded in the books of account. Now, if question is telling us that the value of the goodwill appears in the books at rupees 12,000, that means this goodwill must have been purchased by the firm. Got it, everyone? Is this clear? The value of the goodwill 12,000, which is indicated in the books of account, this must have been purchased by the firm. Is this clear to all of you? Because it is appearing in the books of account, so that proves that it must have been purchased by the business, right? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then question is also telling us that the same goodwill has been valued, had been revalued by the firm at rupees 30,000. So that simply means this is the revalued goodwill. This is the revalued goodwill. This is the revalued goodwill, or you can also call it self-generated goodwill. And this is the purchased goodwill. So in this question, we have two values of goodwill, and both these values needed to be treated differently. First of all, purchase goodwill. How are we going to deal with the purchase goodwill? Anyone? Please tell me. What are we going to do with the purchase goodwill? Whether we want to do the adjustment entry regarding the purchase goodwill, or we need to pass the writing off entry. We need to write it off, or we need to make the adjustment. Please confirm. The goodwill that we have purchased, what are we supposed to do with this? Are we required to purchase, are we required to adjust it among the partners, the gaining and sacrificing share, or write it off from the books of account? Please tell me.
Write it off from the books of account.
Correct. We need to write it off from the books of account. And the second thing is that the second value of the goodwill, which is 30,000, this is clearly written that it has been revalued. That means it is self-generated goodwill. Self-generated goodwill needed to be adjusted among the partner considering their gaining and sacrificing share. All right. So I guess question is clear to all of you, right? Question is clear, all of you?
Yes.
Will you be able to solve this question? If I allow you 5-6 minutes, will you be able to solve this question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So I'm giving you 5-7 minutes. Solve this question. Let me know the answer. Let me know how you will be treating both the types of goodwill. Please take 5 minutes. Solve it. Let me know the answer. Mariam, Sania, Halima, and Aman, all of you. And I want all of you to answer this time. Since this question is not difficult, this one is easy. I presume that all of you will be able to solve it. You guys are solving it, na? Aman, Sania, Halima. Please let me know if you are having any trouble solving it. Aman,
Sir, I'm doing.
Sania.
Doing, sir.
Good. Okay. Halima, you also doing, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Doing.
So just let me show how it will be done. I'm just going to explain the case one, the situation one, when the goodwill has been purchased. So in situation, the case first, treatment of purchased goodwill will be, in this case, in our example, in our question, the purchased goodwill is of rupees 12,000, right? So this, since it is the purchased goodwill, sorry, since it is the purchased goodwill, we need to distribute it among the, we need to write it off among the, write it off from the books of account. And for writing it off from the books of account, we need to pass the general entry like old partners capital account debit. Old partners capital account will be debited to goodwill account. That is what I have done here. Old partners capital account has been debited to the goodwill account, and the amount has been distributed among the partner in their old profit sharing ratio. Old profit sharing ratio is also given in the question itself. In the question, old profit sharing ratio was 5:3:2. So I have distributed 12,000 in the ratio of 5:3:2. So everyone have got 6,624. Is that clear to all of you? Situation A is clear. Treatment of the purchase goodwill is clear to all of you.
Yes, sir.
And similarly, you have to treat the revalued goodwill as well. But since it requires that the revalued goodwill should be adjusted depending upon the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. Therefore, in that case, you will have to first of all find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. That means you will have to prepare an extra working note in the case too.
Done, sir.
Done. Okay. Anyone else have done it? Anyone else have also completed this?
Done.
Done. Okay.
Done, sir.
Okay, so let me also show you the correct solution. See, treatment of revalued goodwill, as we know, we need to distribute it, we need to adjust it depending upon the gaining and sacrificing share. So first of all, we will have to find out the gaining and sacrificing shares of the partner. And for that purpose, we will apply the formula new ratio minus the old ratio. And the new ratio of the partners are equal. All the partners now onwards will be sharing the profit and loss in the equal ratio. So that means their new PSR will be 1:3, 1:3, 1:3. And their old ratio was 5:3:1. That means 5/10, 3/10, and 2/10. Subtracting old ratio out of new ratio, you will get the minus 5/30 for X and 1/30 for Y, and Z's share will be 4/30. Since only X is getting the negative value of share, that means X is sacrificing and Y and Z must be gaining. So in this situation, the that means Y's capital account will be debited, Z's capital account will be debited to X capital account. X capital account needed to be credited. So therefore, we will pass the general entry Y's capital account debit, Z's capital account debit to X capital account. Got it, everyone? And then the amount of goodwill, which is 30,000. Amount of goodwill was 30,000. 30,000 will be distributed among Y, Z, and X. And this will be done like this. 30,000 was the value of the revalued goodwill, 30,000. So out of 30,000, Y share will be 1/30. Okay. So 0 will cancel the 0, 3 will cancel this 3. So ultimately 1,000 will be the share of, will have to be borne by Y, and Z will be getting 4,000. Z's account will be debited by 4,000, and 1 plus 4, that is 5,000. 5,000 will be credited to X capital account. Got it, everyone? Is this clear to all of you?
Yeah.
All
Yes.
of you did the same thing, na? Any differences? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No doubts. Okay. Okay. So guys, this is it for today's class. I'm just giving you one question for your homework. Question number 80. This is question number 83, not 82. All right. Question number 83, I'm giving you for your homework. Just give it a read. Let's read it once and then we will end our session. X, Y, Z and partner, their profit sharing ratio was 5:3 and they have decided to now share the PSR in the equal ratio. So till this point, everything is pretty similar to the previous question. Nothing's changed. Okay, now from this point onward, it is saying that the partnership provides that in the event of any change in the profit sharing ratio, goodwill is to be valued. Goodwill is to be valued at 2 years purchase of the average profit of the preceding 5 years. The profit and loss of the preceding 5 years are as below. So we have been provided with the last 5 years profit, and question is telling us to value the goodwill depending upon the 2-year purchase of the average profit of the preceding 5 years. So number one, the value of the goodwill is not given in the question itself. That means we need to value the goodwill. And when you value the goodwill, that comes under the situation 2, right? It is considered as the self-generated goodwill, right? Is that clear? Because we have to find out the value of the goodwill. That means we have to value the goodwill. So the goodwill that we will calculate, that will be considered as the which kind of goodwill? Purchase goodwill or the self-generated goodwill? Tell me. Why no one is answering? Aman, Sania, Halima, you are getting what I'm trying to explain? I'm saying that since in the question the value of the goodwill is not given, question is telling us to find out the value of the goodwill. We have to estimate the value of the goodwill on the 2 years purchase of the last 5 years preceding profit. So that means value of the goodwill is not given. That means we have to value it. So it is the whatever the value that we will calculate, that will be considered as the valued goodwill. Na? It cannot be considered as the purchased goodwill. Is that clear to all of you? Aman, Sania and Halima?
Yes, sir.
Sania, is it clear to you as well?
Yes,
Sania,
sir.
please. Okay. Then since we need to value the goodwill, it will be considered as the self-generated or the self-valued goodwill. That is okay. You already know how to treat the self-generated goodwill. The question is that how are we going to find out the value of the goodwill? We have already covered a topic regarding the valuation of the goodwill, right? I'm sure that all of you remember that topic. I've told you that there are 4 methods by which goodwill can be valued, right? One is called the average profit method, then we have the super profit, then the capitalization method, and the weighted average method is there as well, right? So just tell me which method will be used in this question.
Average profit method.
Correct. By average profit method, we will be able to find out the value of the goodwill. And once we get the value of the goodwill, then we will be able to pass the adjustment entry. Got it, everyone? So I hope this question is clear to all of you. I'm giving you this question as your homework. I am expecting that you will be easily be able to solve this question. And before ending the session, just wanted to recall you one more time that we will be having a Viva in the next class on Wednesday, and topics for the same will be reconstitution of the firm, reconstitution of the partnership till the point we have covered, and the valuation of the goodwill by all the methods. So make sure you revise all the things, especially the journal entries. I can ask anything, the journal entry, the definition of a particular method, the meaning of the goodwill, or any other thing. What do you mean by the reconstitution? What is investment fluctuation reserve? So make sure you go through all these topics. I have shared